Cutter's Degrassi Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, hello there, Chef Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Degrassi Unpopular Opinion. And today's big Degrassi Unpopular Opinion is the notion that a lot of these people have in the Reddit community that Maya is Emma 2.0. There was a Reddit post done about a month ago, and for context, this is being taped on May the 5th. And it says that Maya is legit Emma 2.0. Chinook said, once again, takes everything personally, always in someone's business. Maya, I should have transferred or something. Basically, a Maya hate. So, before I get into the scope of this post, I gotta tell you something. This is why, this is an unpopular opinion about the post. There's two reasons why Maya is not Maya 2.0. Because, A, Maya getting into other people's business was because of trauma and not because of nosiness. And B is that they didn't make Maya out to be clear. I mean, Emma 2.0, that was Claire who was Emma 2.0. If anything, it's Claire who's Emma 2.0, not Maya. So anyway, so Maya was introduced in, season 11? Season 11, I think, before Cam came in season 12. So anyway, Maya was this cello virtuoso who wanted to go to a special music and arts school, but ended up going to Degrassi with her sister Katie. Katie Matlin. So Maya is portrayed as someone who's just, a little low on the end of things. In season 12, she meets Cam, who transfers over from Kapuskasing, that's in Northern Ontario, to play hockey for the Toronto Icehounds. Unfortunately, Sig finds out that Maya is attracted to Cam instead of him. So Sig basically gets Cam all wound up. Cam gets in trouble. Maya does not defend Cam, but Cam apologizes to Maya, takes Maya's stuffed doll Hoot, and wants to bring it back. Unfortunately, Sig interferes by telling Cam all these things, saying stay out of her life forever. Cam kills himself. Maya feels that Cam did something wrong. Set out to Virgil that the Vigil, that he was wrong. He was selfish. He should not have killed himself because Maya was going to help him. And we all thought that Maya was just basically a decent person. But then Maya starts being more promiscuous and all that, and everyone is shocked. She finally snaps at her family, saying that, I have to forget about Cam. He killed himself. He broke up with me by killing himself. And I'll never be happy again. So then Maya, by season 13, gets herself into a whole lot of trouble. She gets cyber shamed by Zoe and all that, and yet she writes a song about Zoe, and basically the school throws Maya into suspension and into that rubber room and all that, where she hooks back up with Sig. Maya has issues with Miles taking time with Zoe, so she breaks up with him. And then Maya and Zoe do actually patch things up at the end of the season, mostly because of Zoe's rape trial, but basically they both figure that Miles was the bad boy, and Maya and Zoe should stick together. In season 14, Maya starts this whole campaign with being with Miles and all that. We thought it would be for love, but basically Maya soon envisions Miles having some issues with himself. So basically Maya realizes something's afoot. So she tries to check up on Miles every now and then. Miles is not too pleased with Maya's just checking and sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. So he ghosts her on social media. Maya then tries to wonder where Miles is because she doesn't want this to happen again because she's had the Cam trauma happen to her again. Unfortunately, she helps Miles try to get out of trouble with driving under the influence of pot. Thankfully, Mr. Hollingsworth saves the day and saves Maya from being in trouble too. The police officer and Maya's mom said that you can be okay with Miles, but you just can't let him dictate it. And people need help. You got to push them in the right direction. So Maya decides to tell Miles, you need your help, and I'm not helping you. So then, of course, Maya saves Miles' butt throughout with the fire, the fire during the cheerleading competition with Degrassi nudes. And then Miles says, check up on me every so often. And Maya says, nah, you're good. And then, Maya becomes a feminist and such and gets on Hunter's bad nerves in next class season 1 or season 15 of the whole Degrassi thing. And basically wants to hurt Maya, but thankfully Miles saves Hunter from himself. Um, Maya goes with Sig every so often, and then by season 3, she was involved in that bus crash that put Tristan in a coma, and she felt bad, despite the fact that Tristan was pretty terrible to her. So Maya then has her depression thing all over again. She gets into death porn and all that with Syed, and basically wants to hurt herself. She decides to go onto a school bus, put on headphones, and take medication, and fall asleep and be with Cam. But she fails 30 minutes later. She doesn't know what to do, so she just decides to jump off the roof. Thankfully, though, Sig and Esme are on the roof, and they soon realize that, there's Maya. Because Maya did not give the drugs time to kick. So basically, Maya decides to get the drugs. Maya unfortunately convulses and all that. Thankfully, she's saved by Esme and Sig. And of course, the end of that episode was controversial, saying they all want to go for pizza, and Maya was left behind. Well, Maya goes through trying to get her life better. She ends up being with Sig accidentally when she thinks that Sig should be with Esme and all that. Maya has to tell on Esme for her problem, saying that Esme deserves to help. And I think Maya did it because Esme saved her life. So, yeah, and a lot of people, I get why people say Maya is Emma 2.0 because of Emma's terrible nature in the first few seasons before the Rick Murray trauma and all that. You gotta remember that Emma's character changed a lot from the first few seasons on. The first few seasons, she was a little bit triggered and all that. I will admit that. She was, I think, one of the most triggered characters in Degrassi history, if not the most. Or Emma season 2 was the most triggered. But the fact of the matter is that Emma was sticking her nose where it didn't belong. She was trying to save Manny from herself from being on the cheer squad and all that. But it could have been jealousy and all that. The simple fact was that, Emma didn't want Manny to be paraded around for guys to ogle over her. And I get it. I get Emma's feeling, but Emma took it the wrong way. She, of course, got in trouble for misinterpreting Liberty, Mr. Armstrong putting his arm around Liberty because of Liberty's dyscalculia, but Emma thought it was something weird. And, it led from her catfishing experience. She got catfished and she didn't want Liberty to fall under the same problems she did. But that was not working. In season 2, she was upset that her mom was dating her teacher, Mr. Simpson. I mean, what kid would be happy that their parent is dating their teacher? And Raj got on Emma's nerves about the non-GMO foods thing, and Emma basically badmouths Raj to everyone in the school, and Raj basically suspends her because he has to try to get control. And then when Spike wanted to abort baby Jack, abort Jack before he was born, Emma took issue with that around the same time as Spike and Snake's wedding. And of course, she was upset that Sean was invited to the wedding, even though that Sean should not have been because Sean ruined Emma in season 1. And then, Emma goes through the problems with Manny in season 3. Doesn't want Manny to sexualize herself, but Manny says, I'm tired of being cute. And Emma has the right idea, but she has poor execution. So they break off as friends. Emma's not too happy with Manny being pregnant and then going to get an abortion, saying that there's great agencies. Thankfully, though, she does turn around when she tells Craig, I agree that Manny should not abort the kid, but it's her body and her choice. And all that. So, yeah, it was shocking because Emma is anti-abortion. But I think that Spike may have talked to Emma about it, saying that you have to help your friend out. And then season 4, she was upset over Chris being with Liberty, despite the fact that she broke up with him, allegedly. And basically she says, if Chris is with Liberty, what does that say about me? Who cares what people... You never care about what people think of you, Emma. Why do you care now? And then basically she loses Manny and Liberty as friends, and that leads her to Paige's clique to destroy Rick. Of course, they turn on her when she protects Rick from the savage beatings thanks to the Orange Ribbon campaign. Emma's only got in her friend circle Toby, Rick, and Heather Sinclair, soon to be replaced by Jimmy on the Wacky Rain team. And then Emma gets crushed on by Rick. She tells Rick basically that I paid you to get a clue, and she is targeted by Rick. Although Rick wanted to go after Paige first. But then, of course, after being tricked by Jay and Spinner, he shot she shot Jimmy, and then he found Emma conveniently. And then Emma has her control problems. Season 4, her PTSD was not really well received in a sense. Like, her problems, I think, were never over. Yeah, the gonorrhea attack did something, but it wasn't over. Like, gonorrhea didn't help much. And Emma then turned by season 5 into boy crazy and friend crazy Emma, which is unusual. She usually isn't like that. But as I say, the Rick Murray situation made Emma realize she was not with a boy at the time of the Rick Murray situation, and she did not really have friends. So basically, she felt like if she had friends and a boyfriend, people like Rick would never have attacked her. So she was just trying to protect herself. And then she went downhill ever since. So yeah. So I'm going to read off some comments in context. Well, someone said Emma equals Claire equals Maya. I prefer Emma's holier than thou attitude, nosiness, self-righteousness, and drama queen antics over the other two. And they became down to earth and reserved as they're a lot older. And then Bree said, no, that's Claire. Maya's Emma 3.0. Yeah. And someone said, this is stupid. Emma couldn't mind her business. Well, just because she was nosy as fuck. Maya not being able to mind her own business is barely even true. And the time where she couldn't be was because she was paranoid. People were hurting themselves because she was traumatized after her boyfriend killed herself. Completely different. A lot of people hated Maya's slander and all that. All that. Someone said Maya was having nightmares of Miles killing himself and was worried he would end up like Cam. My girl, I guess she's talking about Emma, had legit trauma that played a part in her character from Cam's death to the end. Her need to help or stick her nose wasn't to be a busybody. It was her trauma and worry from Cam that made her want to help Sig, Miles, and even Tristan. I mean, yeah, that's what a lot of people said. They said that, Maya was whinier than Emma, someone said. Fair enough. Emma's a good friend, too. Anxiety. Yeah. Someone said Maya is way better than Emma. Maya has no good support sister. Her mom's okay, and Katie's a good sister, but they were abusing Cody in front of Maya. Her friend suck. Tristan is inseparable and bails on her whenever he wants a relationship. He calls her a bad friend all the time, even though she's doing the right thing. Tori leaves her. Cam kills himself, also leaving her. She's annoying, but it's understandable. Emma, on the other hand, had a great support system. Spike's a great mom. Snake is super supportive of her standing up for herself in the environment. Manny is a lot of things, but bad friend is not one of them. Even JT and Toby were good friends to her. Hell, Sean saves her from an active shooter. It was annoying because she couldn't be annoying. She shouldn't be annoying. She puts herself ahead of her friends, believes everyone should have her morals because she's correct all the time. Maya is worried that her friends will die. So that's the big part of the situation at hand. So, of course, as I said, there's two reasons why this is not true. Number one is, Maya, like I said, Maya is basically a better person than Emma. Like, okay, maybe Emma and Maya were blind and couldn't stick out of their business and had boyfriend issues. Maya had a connection with Sig. I hate it because, Sig seemed to always manipulate Maya into things. And it's like Sig only wants Maya when Maya's with someone else, with like Miles or another boy. And Sig, when he's with Maya, can't help but feel like he wants to be with another girl. So that's a big problem. Is that, it's the whole Veronica from the Archie comics thing. Obviously, I have to say Archie comics because there's a difference. So anyway, I compare Sig to Veronica because it's like Veronica only wants Archie because Betty is chasing after him as well. And Archie should be going for Betty over Veronica. I mean, Betty's parents are more supportive of Archie than Veronica's parents. And Betty treats Archie well. Archie just doesn't reciprocate those feelings and goes all out for Veronica. But Betty doesn't really need too much. That's the problem. But yeah, it's like Sig only wants Maya when she's with someone else, and then basically when he has her, he doesn't feel like he wants her. And I think he probably put some, um, he coursed her and stuff because Sig was part of a gang and realized that Maya would have troubles trying to fit in and was trying to redeem herself for ruining Cam. So he basically toyed with Maya's emotions. But the fact of the matter is that you know Maya was more honest and likable than Emma. I know she didn't last as long by seasons. I think Maya was like what 8 seasons from 11 to 18. Emma was 1 to 9, so kind of close. But you got to remember too that Maya came in for a few seasons with the telenovela format, which meant there was like 40 episodes a season instead of the normal 20, which Emma was in. So things change. So we knew Maya more than Emma by that standard. But the biggest thing, the second biggest thing, is that the progression was not Emma to Maya. It was Emma, Claire, then Maya. Claire was basically set up to be Emma, the new Emma, throughout the Degrassi era. Like the not Next Generation era, but the Degrassi era. Because simply put, like Claire was put in as a girl who stood up for herself. She was put in with a weird friend group, Allie, Casey, and Connor, and that was akin to Emma being put with Manny, JT, and Toby. Like you got Emma and Manny, the best friends, and then Allie and Claire, and then you got the geek, which is Connor, compared to Toby, and then you got the unusual guy, which is Casey, to the JT of the next gen era. And then, of course, Casey ended up being like Sean. Like, Claire grew to Casey and wanted to change Casey for the better. That's kind of like Emma trying to change Sean because Sean was a bad boy and Emma was trying to, like, see the good side in the bad boy era. And that's what Claire did. But Janice stole Casey from Claire's clutches. Claire went through a lot. The writers basically put a lot more pressure on her character than Emma, and to say the least. I mean, Claire was put through the ringer. She had her parents' divorce. She had a boyfriend. She had Eli issues for many iterations, like many seasons. She had faith issues. She had the cancer, which kind of led to her. Well, she got pregnant and then miscarried the baby and all that. She was sexually harassed by her boss at the newspaper office. And then basically her mom ends up marrying her boyfriend's dad, which means that Claire and Jake can't be boyfriend girlfriend because Claire and Jake are now related as step siblings. And Claire still wanted to do that because Claire wanted to be with a boy and wanted to forget Eli and all that. I feel like that's what Emma did. When Sean left for the army and all that, Emma was clutching at straws, so she wanted to be with somebody and all that. I mean, we kind of got closure with Sean in season 7, but not completely closed off. It's not giant closure. So that's the problem. Yeah, and Claire got a lot of things going for her. The writers just basically want to dump all the major storylines on her, kind of like they did with Emma in a sense. I mean, Claire didn't have to deal with a step sibling being born and all that, or having father issues, or her mother marrying a teacher, except her mother married her boyfriend's dad. It was like, what the fuck? So, yeah, it's weird. So, to me, that statement about Maya being Emma 2.0 is completely wrong because, okay, Maya seemed to be in the same vein as Emma, blonde and boy crazy, but Maya had psychological trauma that basically led to her being nosy and all that. Emma's psychological trauma didn't lead her to be nosy and all that. She didn't like butt into people's affairs and all that. She just was trying to cling on to her friends and cling on to a boyfriend. But she kind of got in her own way. I mean, especially with Kelly, because Kelly decides to dump her off because Emma was too controlling. Fair enough. So, and then, it's the progression. Emma goes to Claire, and then Claire to Maya. Next gen, normal Degrassi, and then next class. Think about it. Maya is definitely Claire 2.0 in a sense, or Emma 3.0. Take it as it is. I don't care. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Thanks for watching.